Today, I am joined by the legendary figure, Olympic gold medalist, USA Wrestling ambassador, motivational speaker, and of course, our favorite WWE Hall of Famer, Kurt Angle. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
I am so excited to be talking with you here today. Obviously, we'll get into wrestling and all the crazy things that you've done, but you have a long history. I wanted to bring it back to your roots in amateur wrestling first, if that's okay with you, because you've had a long history there, specifically in USA Wrestling, where you now reside as an ambassador. So, kind of looking back on your wrestling career now and obviously after the fact, what are some contributions that you're most proud of in relation to USA Wrestling?
I would have to say, all my accomplishments that I had, winning the junior nationals in high school, winning the NCAA championships in college. I won the world championships and the Olympic gold medal. And I'm considered only one out of five people to ever do those four. They're the four big ones. And I'm very honored to be able to be in that category.
Yeah, and also in 2006, you were named the greatest shoot wrestler of all time by USA Wrestling. Let's just be clear, it's not the shoot wrestling that people may think of in WWE. It's a very
Right.
historic hybrid grappling style. So looking back, I guess in the shoot wrestling category, again, going back to your amateur days, who were some other competitors you think that you wrestled that were similar to you? What do you think have been your greatest opponents in the shoot wrestling style?
Well, I had a lot of tough opponents. There are a bunch of them. Bill Shear, Kirk Trost, Dan Che, but two that are in particular because they did a lot outside of amateur wrestling. One is Mark Coleman. He was a UFC champion. And the other one is Mark Kerr. And he was pride fighting champion. And now they're doing a movie about him. I believe Dwayne Johnson
Yeah.
is playing Mark Kerr in a movie called Smashing Machine. And so those two are my toughest rivals, and we were beating each other back and forth. And I was able to beat them for the '95 World Team and for the Olympic team in 1996. So I was more fortunate than they were.
They didn't give you a call to be in the movie at all? Like they should have. I feel like it's just natural right there. And you have the television and movie experience.
I
They didn't
don't
get
know.
you.
Maybe they hate my guts because I beat them. I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, I guess along that same realm, and you're not allowed to pick Dwayne Johnson, but if you were to have a movie kind of or docu-series, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
made about your career, who would you like to see portray you?
Well, ironically, we are working on it right now. I am having a movie coming out about my life story. We have not picked the cast yet,
Okay.
but um, I can't really tell you who. All right, the one that we're looking at possibly for me is a very talented actor from Canada. His name's Gabe LaBelle, and he's done some really good movies. I like his look, and I think that he could probably portray me. But right now, we haven't decided entirely who we want the cast to be. I do have our directors on board, Ian and Esham Nelms, who are former amateur wrestlers, but they've done incredible movies. They've directed movies like Fat Man, starring Mel Gibson, and Red Right Hand, starring Orlando Bloom. So they're very, very talented actors, and they're going to be doing my movies. So I'm really excited about this. We are now getting the fundraising investors right now, and then we're going to pick the cast. The script is almost done, so I'm really excited about bringing this to the world. It's going to be about my Olympic story, not my pro wrestling story, about my Olympic story, but I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, you're still seem to be in the early stages, but how involved do you maybe expect to be along this process? Are they going to let you have some say in the process and all of that? How involved do you expect to be?
Yes, and that's why I picked the directors because they were allowing me to have a say in what goes in the movie, what doesn't. I had somebody beforehand that wanted to make this a TV show, and
Mm.
they wanted to go multiple seasons, and but they wanted to do a lot of stuff that was going to bring back some edgy stuff in the past from my family. And I didn't want my family to have to live through that again. So
Yeah.
we decided not to make it a TV show. We decided to make it a movie. And so I'm happy that we're doing that.
Yeah, I feel like too, if it's such a small window of time to, your Olympics, I feel like if you go maybe broader, like your entire span, maybe could be a TV show, and get everything in there. But
Well, that's
that's
what they
so
wanted. They wanted it all together. My amateur
okay.
wrestling career and my pro wrestling career.
Got
Yes.
it.
They had
Got
a
it.
lot of content to work with. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations on that. We're looking forward
Thank
to
you.
that. Obviously, still in the early stages of that. We'll have to stay tuned for more updates on that and everything. But obviously, we're talking about your amateur background, where now you are an ambassador for USA Wrestling. So tell us more about your current role and how you were approached for it.
Well, you know what? My daughter started wrestling at 7 years old. She's now 8, and she's really good. I mean, she's picking up on it. She's taking she's taking the same footsteps as her dad, walking her dad's footsteps, which makes me really excited because she's the youngest of my kids, and I was the youngest of our kids. I had 6 kids when I grew up, and now I have 6 kids of my kids that are growing up. So she reminds me a lot of myself. And the reason I got involved in USA Wrestling because the girls' Olympic wrestling team is doing extremely good. They won 4 medals in the last Olympics. They're dominating. And the thing about our athletes is, I don't know if you know this or anyone else knows this, but many countries like Russia and China, many other countries, they pay their Olympic athletes to train and compete full time. So their athletes are taken care of. They don't have to get jobs. They don't have to make a living. They just have to focus on training and competition and nothing else. Our athletes, for the most part, our Olympic athletes, they have to get jobs and they have to train around their work schedule. And that doesn't fare very well as an Olympic athlete because if they're working 8 to 10 hours a day, they're only going to be able to train 2, 3, 4 hours tops. And that doesn't fare well for an Olympic athlete. So I'm here to raise money for USA Wrestling so our athletes don't have to get jobs. They can make ends meet and they only have to focus on training and competition for the next 4 years. So that's why I'm an ambassador for USA Wrestling, is to help raise money for these athletes so they don't have to get jobs.
How can we, or as people watching this, how can we help you raise money for the Olympic
Okay,
athletes?
USA Wrestling made a special link just for me. It's called kurtangle.org. Go to kurtangle.org. Donate whatever money you want. It could be a one-time donation or multiple donations, but it will go to good use because these athletes are really going to need it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, even in 2024, there's so many disparities between the countries and all that. So that's amazing that you're now passing it forward in all of that. And obviously, you said your daughter was what, 8 years old now, starting to do
Yes.
wrestling. Um, did she watch your stuff and then get inspired, or did you give her a little nudge to get her into it? I'm curious.
All right, I went through the ringer. I tried my
Okay.
my 13-year-old daughter, didn't work out. I tried my 11-year-old daughter, she didn't work out. But this one's working out. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, my second daughter, Sophia, she went to one practice and she cried the whole time, and I knew it wasn't for her. So I didn't want to put her through that misery. But Nicoletta is special. She likes doing it. She loves training, and she trains with her cousin Luke. My brother Eric is actually training my daughter. I don't want to be the trainer because if I train her, I'm going to be a little mean to her sometimes, and
Yeah.
I want her to come to daddy and hug her, and I tell her everything's going to be
Yeah.
okay. My brother Eric, he's like, listen. He tells my niece, my daughter Nicoletta, listen. There's a difference between Uncle Eric and Coach Eric. So either Uncle Eric loves you very much, but Coach Eric's can be a little hard on you. So she knows how to separate the two, but at least I don't have to be the bad guy. I can be the one that comforts her at the end of the workout. So I like being the dad that is the lovable dad, and let my brother Eric train her, and it's working out extremely well.
I have to imagine, while you might not be you might be a little bit hands off, intentionally, but she always has a lot of study material to go back to, I assume. Have you showed her
Yes,
any
she
of your
does.
study material, or who is she? Again, she's still really young, still probably in the early stages, but what has been her studying material probably outside of yourself?
Oh, there are a lot of great athletes today. Helen Maroulis, Olympic medalist. I think she has won probably 6 Olympic and world medals. There are a lot of them. Kylie Welker. There are so many incredible female athletes out there that my daughter can look up to. Her favorite's Helen Maroulis, and that's who she's watching now. She's studying her stuff, and so she doesn't have to study her dad's stuff. She has more up to date wrestling that she can follow, and Helen Maroulis is her favorite.
Yes, and well, hopefully one day she's on a great track. She's got the great roots. Now she just has to put in the work and she's got your support. But obviously, a big part of your amateur wrestling obviously came when you won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck at the 96
Yes.
Summer Olympics. Ironically, that was the year before I was born. So time has really passed so far, Kurt, but obviously it had been difficult, I had to imagine. You've said physically, obviously you got through it with multiple shots of Novocaine, and then it would wear off and it would be excruciating. But from a mental aspect, how did you get through it mentally? What mental strategies did you employ through your journey trying to get through a broken neck?
It was tough. It was very stressful. I was told by one doctor I'm done, that I couldn't wrestle anymore, that you're finished. You could possibly be paralyzed. You could possibly die if you land on your head. And it just really put a lot of pressure on myself. But I had such a support from my family, my brothers, my four brothers, my sister, my mother. My father passed away when I was younger, but I had such a great support system, and they were always telling me, "Hey, listen, you know what? Just go in there and focus on just competition," because I really couldn't train after I broke my neck, so I
Yeah.
had to just wait around and wait for the Olympic trials to come up, and then the doctor would travel with me, and he would stick me with 12 different shots of Novocaine 5 minutes before each one of my matches. And then I'd go out there and compete, and then I'd win my match, and then I would wait an hour, and I'd be in excruciating pain. And I have to do the process over and over again. So the Olympic trials in the Olympics, it was the toughest thing I ever had to do. To overcome, having a broken neck and having to compete with it, that was really stressful. And when I finally did it, it was like, oh wow, I can relax now. And I got so emotional after I won the Olympic gold medal, because I thought at one point in time it was going to be impossible. I was told that I couldn't wrestle anymore, that my broken neck was going to end my career, and to be able to continue on and be able to accomplish that was meant worlds to me, meant the world
You're
to me.
Yeah, going back in those brief moments where you thought your career, might have been over, what was going through your mind? What did you envision as a possible alternative to yourself, if you even remember?
You know what? I knew that I could wait 4 years and do it over again. But the crazy thing about that is, who knows who's going to be there 4 years from now? There could be there could be an athlete that was so good that could dominate everybody in the weight class, including me. So there was no guarantee I was going to make the Olympic team the next Olympics. So knowing that this Olympics, I had to focus on this in 1996 and do everything I could to make sure I could compete. That was my only opportunity. At least that's what I told myself. Is this is your only Olympics? You need to focus on this and see it through to the end. And that's what I did.
Yeah, and obviously you've carried forth, as they say, a champion's mentality. In kayfabe, we call it the three I's: intensity, integrity, and intelligence. You've overcome so many personal obstacles, like you just said, going through the trials with a broken neck. You've also been very public about your addiction that you've now overcome and been clean. Does the three I's, does that mentality carry over to real life, or can you discuss how you rebuilt your real daily life?
Well, you know what? The thing is, I went to the WWE after the Olympics,
Yeah.
and I had a stellar career there. But I broke my neck 4 more times in WWE.
Yes.
And every time I broke it, I had surgery. And the first time I broke it, the second time overall, but the first time I broke it in WWE, I was introduced to painkillers by a doctor. And when he gave me the painkillers, I really liked them a lot. And they really masked the pain in my neck. I couldn't feel the pain anymore. But not only that, but they gave me like euphoric feeling, and I really liked them a little too much. And the thing with painkillers, and the doctors don't tell you this, but after a while, one doesn't work anymore. Your body builds a tolerance.
Yeah.
So you start taking two, then two led to four, four led to eight. Before I knew it, I was taking 65 extra drink Vicodin in a day. I was out of control. And I was getting injured quite a bit, which didn't help with the painkilling problem. And so I remember at one point in time, I was getting ready for the biggest match of my career, and it was going to be a Ironman match against Brock Lesnar. It was going to air on SmackDown on WWE television, and I was at an untelevised show the night before, a house show, and I just got done wrestling. My brother Eric called me. He said, "Listen, your sister Leanne just died of a heroin overdose." And man, that crushed me. I remember going back to my hotel room, checking in my room, looking up at the ceiling, and I remember I took 25 painkillers, I threw them in my mouth and chewed them up and swallowed them, and I didn't want to feel any pain.
Hmm.
I was absolutely wrecked for my sister dying, and I didn't wake up till 4 o'clock in the afternoon next day. The WWE was trying to get a hold of me all day long to tell me I didn't have to show up for TV. I could go home and plan the funeral for my sister. And I remember looking up at the ceiling again. I asked my sister Leanne, I said, "Leanne, what do you want me to do?" And all I could hear is, "Do it for me. Do it for me." So I went and wrestled. And what's crazy is it was the greatest match of my career. So I don't know what it is, but I've always been able to overcome adversity at the craziest times. And this was no different. I really, I did it in my sister's memory, and it's crazy. But eventually, I ended up going to rehab, and
Yeah.
the reason why I went is because my wife gave me an ultimatum. She said either it's me and the kids or it's your addiction, and I chose my wife and kids over my addiction. It wasn't easy. It was really hard because I really
Yeah.
love my addiction, but I chose them over my addiction. I've been clean and sober for 14 years now.
Congratulations on that. That's such a milestone accomplishment. Soon it'll be 15. You've been very public and open about it, so I commend you for that. I know obviously times have changed and all of that, but I know people still struggle. So I just hope you know that you're a huge inspiration to a lot of people out there, and we are so proud of you for getting through all of that.
You know what? That's why I speak publicly about it. I want to help people. I want people to know that there's something at the end, that you can get there and you can get clean and you can be better and you can be cured from addiction. Don't get me wrong. You're an addict the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So you can't go back to them. But there is hope, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, definitely.
Yeah, so and that obviously I have to imagine ties into your motivational speech work and all of that. So overall, whether it's athletes or just in general, what lessons or advice do you hope to pass on to today's generations, or what do you speak about generally in these motivational speeches? What are your overall messages?
I speak about never giving up. That when you love something and you are into it, go all the way in. You don't just go half-ass. You go full go and you go forward. And don't ever give up on anything. I remember I was injured 90% of the time when I was wrestling, but I won 98% of those matches.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that no matter how badly I was injured, I always had a shot at winning. And that breeds confidence, and that in turn breeds success. And that's what I speak about in my speeches, is to go full tilt and don't look back. Just keep going forward.
What drive, obviously you're not no longer an in-ring competitor, but you're still talking about it. What motivates you now? Maybe it is changing the world, but yeah, what motivates you now to go through everyday life and to also stay clean, obviously?
Well, you know what? I had a lot of tragedy in my life.
Yeah.
Deaths of my father in high school when I was young. Um, my Olympic coach getting killed 6 months before the Olympics. My sister Leanne died of a heroin overdose. So I had a lot of things I had to overcome, and I've always dedicated everything I did to them, and especially Dave Schultz. I lost Dave Schultz 6 months before the Olympics, and 2 months later I broke my neck. And I didn't think it was possible for me to win Olympic gold medal at that point in time. But I stuck with it and I stayed focused. and I allowed my doctors to do what they had to treat me for the Olympics, and I dedicated my athletic career to my father and Dave Schultz, my wrestling coach, and that really helped. I mean, it gave me an extra push inside, spiritually, that I knew they were there fighting with me, and that's why I really do believe I won the Olympic gold medal.
Yeah, having that good support system and also, doing stuff in memory of the
My,
people who
my
helped
family
uplift you.
traveled everywhere,
That's
everywhere. They went
amazing.
everywhere to watch me. I was able to raise money to make sure my family, because we didn't have a lot growing up.
Yeah.
I was able to raise money, enough money to get my family to travel to the Olympic trials, the world championships, the Olympics. They were everywhere. They went to the U.S. Open, everything. So they were always there. And the crazy thing is, every time I was warming up for a match, I was in the warm-up area and nobody's allowed there. But my brothers always got down there. I don't know
They
how they
snuck
did it.
in.
And they always snuck in and they got me ready. They would slap me in the face and say, "You got to get ready, man. You got to and there were times where I was doubting myself and my brothers could see that. And they were like, "Not today, Kurt. Don't do this. Don't doubt yourself now. You're going to go out there and you're going to give everything that you have." So my brothers were my, extra strength, source of strength. And they always knew when I was questioning myself, and they made sure I didn't. And that's
Yeah.
why I had such a great support system.
Yeah, and before you were talking about some notable opponents from your amateur wrestling days, but to kind of bring it back to the three eyes, specifically the first one, intensity, who would you say are some of your most intense or toughest opponents from your professional wrestling career, whether it's WWE, TNA,
Oh
or on the
gosh,
Indies?
in WWE, I would say Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar. TNA, I would say AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Sting. I had some really great matches in my career. Even Shawn Michaels. I had my best WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels. That was WrestleMania 21.
You mentioned Sting. He, like you, now joined the retired era of his
Finally,
career.
geez, I thought he was going to wrestle forever.
I know. I feel
Yeah.
like, granted, you came into pro wrestling later, but you always were wrestling amateur. You were wrestling for a while, since like the mid to late 80s to what, like very recently, 2019, 2020,
Yes, yes, yeah,
2019. So like 30 years for yourself as well. What are
yeah.
some of your favorite memories with Sting?
Oh, Sting, man, he was so talented, such a great athlete, and such a great leader. Uh, Sting, you know what? I would say Sting is in the top five of all time for the fans' most favorite character. He's always been like a big superstar in WCW. He's actually he eventually went to WWE, I believe. I think only for one match.
Well,
But
I think he had like three or four, but yeah, he
yeah,
got
yeah, I
unfortunately
couldn't
got
remember.
injured. Yeah,
Yeah, but Sting, he had such an incredible career in WCW and TNA,
yeah.
and for him to be able to wrestle in his 60s, he went to AEW as well, and I just have a lot of respect for him, and everybody does. Everybody that's in the business loves Sting and has the utmost respect for him. I love the guy. I think he's one of the most giving wrestlers I've ever been in the ring with. He's never been about himself. It's always been about the match. And that's what I love about him.
Two more questions for you. You
Yeah.
talk about giving. During one point in your career, you gave to some up and coming talents in WWE known as Team Angle, one of them being Shelton Benjamin. I'm not sure if you saw, but he recently said that you would be the number one candidate to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame if he was given that opportunity someday. Obviously, he's another former amateur wrestler and current pro wrestler. How was your experience working with Shelton? And if this occasion come up, would you accept the honor of inducting him?
I would be honored to induct him. Shelton is the best athlete I've ever seen in the wrestling ring. This guy could do so many incredible things. What's crazy is he can jump up on the rope, on the top rope, and walk around the four corners and not fall.
I
He
know.
could go around the four all four ropes and four corners without falling. Uh, he was just an incredible athlete. The best athlete I've ever seen. Him and Brock Lesnar. Brock, for his size, being 300 pounds, incredible athlete. But Shelton Benjamin, the best athlete of all time in professional wrestling, definitely.
I agree. And hopefully one day he can join you in the Hall of Fame. For right now,
He
though,
will. He will. And I
yes.
will be inducting him. If he asks me to, I will induct him.
Amazing. Obviously, right now he is now in AEW with MVP and Bobby Lashley, two very other tough competitors. We wish the best of luck to him. But to close things out, it is the season of thanks right now. We are in the month of November. Thanksgiving is coming up. So, in that spirit, can you tell me three things that you're grateful for in your life right now?
Yeah, I'm grateful for my family, my beautiful wife and six kids. I'm grateful that I'm able to have an impact on everybody for my wrestling career, and to be able to speak to them today and talk about my career and having all the fans that I have. I have such incredible fans. And lastly, I'm grateful to be able to have this movie come out about my career. I'm really excited about this. I always wanted to get into acting, but I never thought they'd ever do a movie about me. And it's such an honor to be able to know that there are directors out there and producers that are interested in doing this for me. And to tell my story is just incredible. To be able to do that is so amazing. So I'm so grateful for that.
And before we let you go, can you please let the listeners know where they can find you online and where they can find out more details as this movie goes along?
You know what? Go to kurtanglebrand.com. Always go to my website. I have updates there. Make sure you go to kurtangle.org to donate for USA Wrestling. And lastly, go to kurtanglebrand.com because I have a new protein out. It's the best tasting protein on the market. You're absolutely going to love it. It's called Kurt Angle's American Dream Cookies and Cream Protein. Go to kurtanglebrand.com. Go to the link section and tap the cookies and cream protein link. Uh, this protein, I promise you're going to absolutely love it. So I'm now in the supplement industry too.
I love cookies and cream. You're speaking my language, Kurt.
Good.
What quickly, what are
I'll
some
send you some. I'll send
thank
you some.
you. What are some benefits of it before we let you go? What are some benefits?
um,
Talk about it.
it's just a very high protein, low carbohydrate. It's a real high quality protein, so it's going to help build muscle and recover from your workouts. So it's the best tasting protein, and I promise that everybody's going to love the flavor.
Well, Kurt, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been an absolute honor getting to speak with you. And
You know
obviously, we
what? I'm
will
going to tell you, I'm impressed by your presentation and what you have brought to the table here today. I can't believe how much you knew about my career, and I'm absolutely impressed.
thank you so much. You were one of my favorites of all time. So it's been an honor
Oh,
to
thank
speak with
you.
you here today. And we will obviously have all the links linked down below that Kurt just mentioned. Go support him. He has a lot of amazing causes. And obviously, maybe he'll have some more motivational dates. Speaking of, you can hear everything he just said and more in person. Kurt, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you very much. It was an honor being on your show.